Hi everyone, welcome. Okay, so today we're going to talk about part 2 of how to communicate with a loved one who has crossed over. But today we're going to talk about how to communicate in our dreams. So the reason I'm making this is many people come to me all the time and they say, I had a dream about my loved one who crossed over this one time. I haven't had one since, or I can't remember my dreams, or you desire in some way to communicate with your loved one in a dream. So let's break it down. Okay, so the first thing I want you to think about is the dream realm is a state that you can actually do work in, okay? So if you know anything about lucid dreaming or this type of thing, you know that you can set the intention to lucid dream. So what I want you to do, just in a gentle, easy, curious way, so you're not forcing, just a gentle, easy, curious way, I want you to set the intention to start communicating with loved ones and to remember it, okay, the next day. Set that intention, because our intention is sort of like the seed point. We need to be setting that. Next thing I want you to do is I want you to keep your channel as clear as possible before you go to bed. So what this looks like. So if you are a person that is scrolling a lot before bed, watching TV right before you go to sleep, or, whatever it is, whatever you're doing, think about, putting the electronics away, taking like a salt bath or something like that, and doing something very nourishing for your body so you can kind of transition to sleep. Really allow your mind to settle down, and so that you're just imagining right before you go to bed that the channel is clear. And not only is the channel clear, the channel is open for me to receive messages. Okay, it's just kind of gentle, easy, simple. And so this isn't an admonishment in any way, but if we are drinking or doing anything like that before bed, it's going to be more difficult to communicate. So, just think about these type of things, okay? Next, we're going to remove all electronics from our space. So it's very easy at this point to have the phone by us and kind of attached. It's like a different appendage at this point. I don't know. I do too. We all do it, right? But if possible, put your electronics, anything electronic, in another room, because we're going to create a safe space. It's and we're creating a clear, calm, open channel. Okay. Keep a little journal or piece of paper and a pen by your bed, because a lot of times what happens is our loved one will try to come in, they'll leave us a message and we won't remember it. And so start to leave a journal by your bed. And when you wake up in the morning, okay, we're going to talk about what to do right before sleep, but when you wake up in the morning, write down exactly as you remember before you get started on your day. Just jot down a couple sentences. So start doing this just every day. Take 2 minutes, 1 minute, whatever, but write down what you can recall, what you can remember, and write it down. Now, right before bed, I want you to take a glass of water, and in that glass of water, holding that glass of water, I want you to program your intention to communicate. Gently program it and see the intention going into the glass of water to communicate, to open the channel, okay? And then take a couple of sips of the water. It's not necessary to drink the whole thing, okay? Unless you want to. Drink a little bit of the water and put it by your bed. Okay, so now you've got your notebook, your pen, your glass of water. You're going to have this calm period of time before you wind down. You're allowing the channel to open, okay? And then right before you go to bed, I want you to do this. Okay? So most of the time, we are spending our energy right before bed on unhelpful things, right? We're worrying about tomorrow, we're worrying about the past, we're worrying about the future, we're worrying about something else. Okay, I just want you to notice if you're doing that. And if you do that a lot, this is a good time to really work on kind of resetting the vision for yourself. So if you really desire to communicate with a loved one in sleep, right before that sleep state, so that's like there's a few minutes before we enter the sleep state and before we're fully awake, where we can kind of feel that almost like daydreamy sense. And right in that space, what I want you to do is start to just imagine that you're sitting at a table with your loved one. Just simple. It can be a kitchen table, it can be any table that comes to mind. Okay, now we're all different. So if that image somehow doesn't resonate with you or doesn't work with you, you can imagine that you're meeting your loved one in a garden. Okay, so wherever it is that you want to meet, I want you to imagine that you're doing this. Okay, so it's like an agreed upon location. Okay, it could be anywhere that makes you happy. So it could be somewhere from your childhood. It could be your favorite, you went to a lake house when you were a kid and you're going to meet by the lake. Now, what I'm saying is it won't necessarily happen this way, although it really might. And in my experience, it really might. But what you are doing is you're reprogramming the mind, okay? The subconscious mind, rather. You're setting the intention, and then you're also what I call is setting the stage. You're setting your own stage for the communication to happen. Okay, so wherever it occurs to you, I asked my grandmother to come. So she was very important to me and still is. So what I will do is I just request that I have a sit down. Okay, and you can I imagine that we're sitting together at, her old kitchen table from when I was a kid. We're just sitting there and she'll come and talk to me. And I also set the intention, but just gently, not forcing, we're allowing. You set the intention to remember, okay? So both things. So you're gonna have a sit down, an agreed upon meeting space, and you're gonna set the intention to remember, okay? Again, you have your notebook right by your bed, your pen, your paper, your water, electronic free, you've done something to wind down, okay? And then right before sleep, you, what I call set the stage. So you ask that your loved one come to agreed upon location. What's wonderful about this practice is that you can do this anytime with a loved one or a guide. So you can ask also if you are wanting to meet a guide and learn from a guide, talk to a guide, that you just ask for a meeting space in the dream time, okay? So this is really can be super helpful. And it's not to say that your loved one, you might have a dream that is different than the agreed upon meeting space. But what you are doing is you're starting to reprogram your subconscious mind to allow that being to enter your space in the non-physical. And when we do this legwork, it will make it a little bit easier for them to come in and communicate with us. So after you visualize the communication, you go to sleep and you sleep, you're dreaming. When you first wake up in the morning, you're writing it down. Okay, just a couple sentences. Now, one thing that could happen is if this doesn't happen right away, you say, well, it didn't work for me, and you give up. I want to caution you against doing this. If it doesn't work or you don't remember your dreams, just say to yourself gently, well, I'm learning, okay? I'm learning, and as part of this learning process, I'll try again, okay? And you try it tomorrow, and then you try it the next day. The thing is, the process of intending and beginning to reprogram your subconscious mind right before you sleep is very powerful. And our subconscious mind is like a supercomputer. And we're feeding it instructions all the time. So this will eventually work if you allow it. But what might come up is some of your beliefs about whether something will work or not. So try it this week, see what happens, and let me know in the comments below if it worked for you. And if it didn't, that's okay. I would suggest you just keep trying and keep allowing. And we can't always guarantee, but I will say it will happen eventually if you keep allowing it. And the other thing is I have a free class in the link below. It's a signs and symbols class, and it's very helpful if you want to starting to understand how we receive signs and symbols directly every single day. All right, I will see you next week with another video in the series, and I'm also going to put a channeling up. Thank you.